Our first honoree, Sergeant Ken Latrell, 99 years young, was eager to serve his country during World War II. At age 17, he joined the Marine Corps, where he was assigned to the Joint Assault Signal Company. Their job was to get on the beach and do artillery spotting for invading U.S. battleships. Not the safest job in the world. On February 19, 1945, Ken and his team were among the first wave of amphibious assault in the invasion of Iwo Jima, Japan. The battle was supposed to be short. That's not the way it turned out. Instead, it was the bloodiest and most difficult 26 days in the history of the Marine Corps. When Iwo Jima was finally secured, more than 25,000 Marines and sailors were dead or wounded. But for Ken, the Battle of Iwo Jima lasted just 3 days. He was setting up a radio antenna when he suffered a massive head injury from high-velocity shrapnel. It took 9 surgeries to repair the damage. Honorably discharged, he returned home to St. Louis. He married, had a family, and opened a successful nursery that brought beauty to his hometown with thousands of trees that still populate much of the city. Accompanied by Chris Lewis, United States Marine.
Kid who answered to the call to serve his country by joining the Navy. He was 18 years old. He was ultimately stationed in the South Pacific on the USS Arizona, the largest ship in the Navy's fleet. And just before 8 a.m. on December 7th, 1941, the first swarm of Japanese warplanes attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and scored a direct hit on the Arizona. Ken was above deck. He and a few others abandoned ship to board a small transport craft. They scooped up injured sailors in the burning waters and headed to a nearby island. Ken saved many lives that day. Of the 2,341 service members who perished at Pearl Harbor, more than half were on the Arizona. Only 20% of her crew survived. Ken was one of the lucky ones, and when the war ended, he returned home to Illinois and later came to Utah, where he and his wife Doris lived in our very own Provo. And there they raised their family for many years. It's a shame that Ken cannot be here today to enjoy the honor we bestow upon him. Sadly, he passed away a few weeks ago, a few days after his 102nd birthday, mentally aware right up to the end. Until his passing, Ken was one of just 2 surviving crew members of the Arizona. His granddaughter, Candy Vincent, is with us. Candy, please accept this award and America's thanks on Ken's behalf.
Our next honoree is Army Staff Sergeant retired John K. Moran. Steve, just look at this guy. Even at 98 years old, the face of a warrior. Young Jack Moran grew up in Superior, Wisconsin. Living in that freezing climate prepared him well for what was to come. He enlisted in the Army at age 17 and was assigned to the 87th Infantry and shipped to Europe. 2 years later, he found himself at the Battle of the Bulge in Belgium. For those who may not be familiar, the Bulge was the largest and bloodiest single battle fought by the United States during World War II. Our troops fought in frigid temperatures with snow, sleet, and freezing rain. 19,000 Americans died, with tens of thousands more injured. As a squad leader, it's a miracle that Jack wasn't one of them. The horrors of war continued for him, and in the spring of 1945, Jack's division liberated the Nazi concentration camp at Buchenwald, an experience still seared in his memory. Jack returned to the States, married, and had 3 daughters. Enjoyed a successful career in business and real estate. He's joined by his nephew, Edward Moran. Let's hear it for Army Staff Sergeant Jack